Hey, it's Josh for This Week in Central New York, and it is my distinct privilege to have King Konye in studio with us. King, welcome to the show.
I'm so hyped to be here. What's up, TownSquareMedia? This is King Konye.
That's an awesome way to introduce yourself. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about your background, where you come from, and how you got interested in music as you are a local recording artist?
So I was actually born and raised in the Albany area. It's a small town called Clifton Park. Shout out to the 518 if you know it. Anyway.
I used to go see music when you were just a very small child in Clifton Park.
In Clifton Park? Yeah, because you went to Upstate Concert Hall, right? Upstate Concert Hall?
I think that's what it was called. Something else.
It was called, yeah, but in beautiful venue, by the way.
Great venue, great memories. Go
ahead. So for me, I actually grew up in a musical family. Now, my dad is a professor of music at Siena College, and he wanted me and my siblings to be playing instruments since we were young.
That's awesome.
So we always used music as like just a way to hang out with each other. It was just a way for us to like communicate with each other, right?
Right.
Now, I was a guitarist. I loved writing songs on my guitar and just singing them. And I was a kid. It was around 10 years old.
Right.
I just write things just to deal with literally like day-to-day school things, like easy stuff. But as I got older, it became a way that I would connect with my friends, and then it just became like a voice for me personally. Because I was a quiet kid, but it felt like, when I was on the stage, that was my chance to share all these thoughts that I was just, having. Right. Now, when I was around 17 or 18 years old, that's when I started recording music, just because I wanted to hear myself back. Like,
sure.
I didn't even want... It wasn't for no one else, but just for me and my brother and my mom, because we wanted to cheer her up in like difficult situations that she'd be going through.
Absolutely.
So that's when we started recording, and then you show your friends a couple of times, and they were like, "Yo, like you actually have a message behind this. You should release this to the world." And I was like, "You know what?" And we started doing that, and then came everything else.
If you could describe the music that you're putting out now in one succinct sentence, what would you say? If somebody asked you, if you're in an elevator, you got 10 seconds, describe your music.
My music, it's hopeful rap. It has rock influences, but it's very rhythmic, as it is hip-hop. So
I'm going to throw this at you. Since this is a music show, what are you listening to right this second, right now?
Ooh, that's a great question. I actually listen to a lot of Christian rap. This dude, Alex Jean, has this song called Right My Wrongs, and it is so good. It has a drill style of production and a really melodic style of delivery.
And it's really funny on the other side of the coin. I've been obsessed with doom metal for like the last week, like old school, slow, funeral dirge sounding dark music. That's yin and yang right there, and that's just how that goes.
And there's a beauty of that because that's the authenticity. It's funny, actually, when I perform live, I perform with a live band, Cat Hook, which is a death metal band, and we play like this pop rap, hopeful rap music, and we'll break down into like heavy metal type of things, and what's the word? Heavy metal type of like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, breakdown. That's what I'm looking for. And when we break down, I'll be dancing, and it's like the mixture between those brings like, the darkness with the light, and that's the beauty of life. Like life is yin and yang.
That's awesome. Let's go back to your influences just a little bit. Who are the artists that, let's say 5 artists that totally influence you in your work? I know that's putting you on the spot.
I know.
But give it to me as best you can.
Here's the thing. Number 1, Rod Wave, very soulful, love it. Roddy Ricch, the way he has punchlines and fits in melodic rap is amazing. Okay. Then we have A Boogie, shout out New York rap. He has a tough style to very aggressive but vulnerable rap.
Right.
And Juice WRLD, he has rock influences, and his music is melodic in a similar way, also freestyled. And now number 5, now I don't want to forget any artist, so I need to make sure I'm careful with this spot, but I have to say a punk band, Real Friends.
You're speaking my language now, because punk rock is my love language. That's where I come from. Like you said with music, using it as a language almost, for my friends and I, we were all kind of the outcasts, the weirdos. We listened to different music. We had green hair. We looked different than everybody else. We thought differently, and we liked it that way. So we all got together. We listened to punk rock music. We had bands. So I'm definitely, on your wavelength as far as that goes.
Yeah, I think punk rock embodies this self-acceptance, and that's what people like about it. It's rebellious, but it's also like, hey, there's social norms and a public face that we don't have to put on. I mean, I'm here with Purple Hair. You got rappers that came from this genre, listening to Escape the Fate, listening to that post-hardcore Suicide Silence, Pierce the Veil, and now, like, we're here with a whole different style of music, but we have that self-acceptance where we're going to say things where sometimes it's going to be sad.
I mean, there's definitely cultural crossover there, because I know in the 90s, we were listening to hardcore, we were listening to punk rock, but we also listened to NWA, we listened to Ghetto Boys, we listened to Wu-Tang, we were into Ice-T. So all of that stuff definitely permeated. And there was, I mean, you saw Cypress Hill, jump into rock music in the 90s and early 2000s because of all of that stuff crossing over.
And I think rap and punk have a beautiful crossover. Like with DMX, the reason they cross over is because there was those similarities. That rebellious nature of punk rock music is the same rebellious nature when NWA came out talking about, hey, we're experiencing racism and oppression, but we have a voice and we're going to make that voice regardless.
So I have a story for you now. Back in England, okay, so when punk rock first came to England, there weren't any recordings. So before punk shows, they played reggae music. Okay, and they played, it was a guy named Don was his name, that was the DJ at the club that all the punk kids went to, and all they heard was reggae. And, being both rebellious kinds of music, they merged, and that's why bands like The Clash and Operation Ivy and on down the line, that's why we have punk, we have ska, we have all these different kinds of music because of what I call cross-cultural pollination, just like that.
Wow, and that is beautiful. I'm happy that they use reggae music too, because the political voices in reggae are so amazing, and how they and it's like peaceful. It's like, that classic teenager, your parents are telling you don't listen to that music, it's bad because it's rebellious, but no, like there's a calm unity in rebellion. It's like it's rebellious positivity.
I mean, that music spoke to me so much that I have a Lion of Judah tattoo on my leg. I mean, that's I grew up in lucky enough to grow up in New York City. I had all of these, and it was before the internet, so we weren't spoon-fed music like your generation. No judgment, but what the sounds that we heard were the sounds of the street. So I'd walk out my door, I'd hear metal and I'd hear hardcore, but I'd also hear reggae music, I'd hear Puerto Rican music, salsa music, and it was all beautiful. And if you were lucky enough to be in New York in the 90s, all of that kind of came together in one package for us. We didn't know differences between genres or cultures. Everything just kind of melded together.
Wow. And so did you hear often artists that would be in the crossover between the two, like in the streets, like while you're growing up?
There was a band I was actually telling you about last week by the name of Biohazard. Now, they're from Brooklyn, New York. Onyx, if you remember that song, was it Jump? Oh, no, whatever it was. They did a classic song back in the day. Biohazard and Onyx used to come together. They did a song for the Judgment Night soundtrack. They did some remixes for Onyx, and they were in each other's videos. So to us, the hardcore rappers and the hardcore rockers were all just kind of under one umbrella.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
And there's a reason why you see in old Onyx videos, you see moshing, crowd surfing, and all that, because that was taken from us. So when we would have, and they would be on the same bill, they'd have shows together. It was really kind of a cool thing.
Like, they had shows together? Would they ever, do, collab festivals and stuff like that, too?
Back in the day, we're talking about people's garages. We're talking about small clubs. We're talking, on the side, in a park in the street. So, yeah, things were just a little bit different back then. As far as your influences go, I listened to a couple of your tracks. And, being that my ears are trained to hear Caribbean music, I hear a little bit of reggae in your delivery. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is there a background to that? Or
so it's crazy because I never had any intense reggae influence in my music, but I think there's actually a strong spiritual aspect of reggae.
Absolutely.
And that is a lot in my sound. It is that hopefulness and that desire to overcome. Like in my music, especially in certain songs I have called Lil Angel, I'll speak about very dark things that I'm going through, or at least going through a situation that's seemingly hopeless, but seeing a way out. Even if at that specific moment I don't feel like I see the way out, I know this is just temporary, this is just right now.
It's all about uplift and positivity, which the world needs so much more of right now. So in the time we have left, I want you to do a couple things. Number one, I want you to hit us with a freestyle.
That is valid. Is it possible I could have a beat, or am I doing this?
You are solo on your own, old school street corner freestyle.
All right. Street corner freestyle, do it positivity. I don't know, off the top, you know what I mean. Ain't no love in these streets like it's Billie Jean, but I do it for my family and for my team, or my mama and my brother, and we really started from the gutter. We go hard and we go the hardest. Dang, I'm still that young and broken hearted. I dropped the bars at the end. I dropped them.
That's all right. That was awesome. Now go ahead and why don't you plug all of your stuff to let people know where they can find your videos, your music, anything that you've got going on.
My music is on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, any platform. I'd say go listen to Planted right now by King Konye. There's a music video shot by Dylan Avery from TownSquareMedia. He does an amazing job.
And that was the one with the railroad tracks? And
yes, that was the one with
that looked beautiful. It was a beautiful video.
We were in a nice area, rebellious positivity. That's what I'm about. So if you're looking for some hopeful rap music, listen to it right then. Instagram, King Konye, KING.KONYE. It is not Kanye. Don't compare me to Kanye.
I made that
It is King
mistake.
Konye, and I understand. And on Twitter, Facebook, anything you're looking for. I love you guys.
King, thank you so much for being here today. For This Week in Central New York, I've had King Konye with me in studio, and this is Josh Taylor.